I just got lost for a second. Someone's responding to somebody's question here. All right, well then let's move on to the whole thing around networking. So now you've got this brilliant, I ask you what you're doing, you can position yourself well, your objective is clear, you've got your transition statement for why you're not working now, what's going on. Networking fundamentals, page 13. What is networking? Who's got a, I know it says right there, but somebody's got their own definition of what it is? Okay. Talking to people, that's what I say it is, finding out about people. Why do it? Because it's going to expand our opportunities. Most people, when they find jobs, it's not by asking your immediate circle of friends, it's by who your circle of friends might know. That's one way. It's by a lead. Do you think that person might be willing to speak to me? It might be a question for my personal friend. But it's just a way for you to get inside, get behind those barriers. What do you want to ask for when you're doing it? It's very clear. You don't want to ask somebody, can you help me get a job? It's too big, I don't know. But things that you can ask people, can you help me find information on something? Do you have any advice? Everybody wants to give advice. Do you have advice for me? Or key, do you know people who know about whatever that might be? Do you know people who know about foundations? What are you looking to do, Walter?
Accounting.
Accounting, okay. So, I would ask people, is there a particular field you want to go into with accounting?
Not necessarily, no.
Uh-huh.
Just general accounting.
Uh-huh. Any types of organizations?
No, not any.
Okay. Have you worked with big firms or little firms?
I work with both.
Okay. Okay. So, you might want to ask people about what organizations are hiring, what organizations are going through, something I know Wells Fargo, I don't know finance, it's not my area, but they're just buying a whole billions or millions of dollars worth of European mortgages. Is that true? I think I read that in the paper. To me, it's like, well, what does that mean? Are there implications for what's going to happen with Wells Fargo and accounting here in the Bay Area? I don't know, but it's certainly something to think about. So if you know people, I'd be asking folks, do you know anybody who, do you know people who know about finance and accounting? There was a guy on my block who moved who worked for Citibank foreign cash sales or something. He was on the phone to Switzerland every day. I would ask him, to explore with some of that. And it's just probably you're like rolling your eyes. That's the stupidest things I've ever heard because I don't know finance and accounting. But it's a way to get to people, and they have some examples there. I've made a list of companies that I'm interested in. Can I go over that list with you to see if you have any ideas about how I can learn more about them? Or I'm researching companies that do food delivery, like Jim's looking for. Do you know people who might know of companies like that? I'm trying to learn more about technology, something or other, like half the people in this room. Do you know people who are really good at that? So asking for information rather than do you know of a job I can get. It's a subtle difference, but it's a really, really important difference. It allows you also to get out of the shell of immediate acquaintances. Because if you ask me, I'm a stranger, do you know of any jobs and such, I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you're a good worker. I don't know anything about you. So I can't make a recommendation to you because then they're going to say, you Doug, what are you doing sending me so-and-so? I mean, they were horrible. So unless I know you, I can't make recommendations. But I can, if you ask me, respond to that specific question. Yes, I know people who do this, or no, I don't know people who do this. And we can go from there. So your strategy around this, I'm looking at page 14 now, is this is going to be a little scary. First bullet point. Build your list to 100 target companies, I would say, / organizations or people that you want to talk to, 100. I mean, that's like a minimum. You know, if you're ready to send out, if you're looking at job postings for dozens and dozens of companies, you want to have a list of people or organizations that's as big as 100 in order to start talking to them. If that sounds too much to start with 20 and build from there. And we'll talk about how we can do this now. It's ever expanding circles, and this says 50% of your time networking with people. Add on then 20% for your research, and you're back up to that 60 to 80%. I'm going to ask you just to jump and look at page 17 for a second on how we can get to 100 companies. So there's a big grid there. This is where you start building that list. Family, list everybody in your family. Friends, list every friend you have. Co-workers, neighbors, any kind of religious group, spiritual, any kind of association. If you have any hobbies, you get in touch with people that way. The bottom left corner is a critical one. Haircutting, doctor, and where you get your food, because those are the stranger interactions. Those are the interactions with people that you don't have any personal contact with. Everybody gets their hair cut, almost everybody. So, you know, I just asked, I'm not looking for work now, but I asked the guy who cuts my hair, do you know anybody who blah, blah, blah? And he does. I mean, I'm just throwing out things, and he'll know people like that because, you know, in the salon, how many people come through getting their hair cut? So they know people. Your grocery store, if you've got a relative, one place you go, you know, do you know anybody who, so places where you have an interaction that's not based on necessarily on a friendship, but it's based on a connection and activity, that's the way to start asking those questions where there's a little bit of a connection with somebody, but when maybe we're not best friends, but we've got at least an opening. We're both in the same place to buy our shoes or do whatever it is that we're doing. You gotta start reaching to those people. So if you make this huge list, spouse, significant other, you'll be surprised how many people you're going to get on this. Neighbors in San Francisco, and then friends. So start where it's easy. To make that list, and then let's go back to this one. So how many, am I going to set up coffee, and am I going to invite them over for dinner here? Am I going to, and be overt about it. That's fine. Am I going to like spend time and go around all the places where I do my errands and ask all those people today, I'm doing this, I'm looking for job stuff, so I'll put on clothes that I think will work for what I'm doing and ask them, do you know anybody, yes or no? And they say, yeah, great. Then can you give me their contact information? Or if you're not comfortable with that, can I ask you to get in touch with them? And here it is. And by the way, here's what you need to tell them about me, that I'm looking for a food delivery job and blah, blah, blah. Something that short. If you're passing on, that's the 30-second elevator speech. Just tell them that I'm doing this and this and this, and ask if they'll get in touch with me. I did the opposite with the guy next door. I said, if he's interested in doing something with landscaping and project management, have him get in touch with me. So build this list and keep building it. And when you cross somebody off, add somebody new. If you talk to somebody, ask them. It used to be in sales. You always ask somebody whether you sold them something or not for a referral. Can you tell me about 2 more people I can get in touch with? It's the same sort of thing. You're selling yourself, so you talk to somebody, say, do you know anybody else who knows about shoes that I might be able to talk to, because I want a job in doing something with shoes? And you start asking them. They say, no, it doesn't matter. If you've got a list of 100, all you need is a few hits. If you've only got a list of 5 people and they all say no, then you're stuck. You're dead in the water. So going back to page 14, you want to use these people to start identifying organizations and people in organizations that you can talk to. So here's how it works. We start by, so I'm talking to the guy who cuts my hair, and I say, do you know anybody who is in, do you cut the hair for anybody who's in accounting? Yes, I do. So do you know, would they be willing to talk to me? Yeah, I think you could call Doug. He's a great guy and he's willing. I'll ask him when he comes in to get his hair cut next time. So you ask me and then I say, yeah, I'd be willing to talk to him. So now you're going to talk to the second level of contact, and that's me. And you talk to me, and it's like, well, no, I don't know anybody. My company's not hiring right now. But we talk about what's going on, what you're interested in, what your skill is in, where you went to school, all that stuff. And I say, oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to pass your name on to X organization because I know they've got this small project that they're working on, or I work for such and such a nonprofit and they're moving to a new system and they might want somebody to come in, and maybe that's a volunteer opportunity. So there's a volunteer opportunity that's there. So this is how then the networking piece works. Or you say, that was great, do you know anybody else? Then maybe I've got 3 more people that you can talk to. And that's how this works, from talking to the person who cut your hair, from talking to the person who's repairing your car. Look at the places where I call it the stranger overlap, where I'm taking my car in to get it serviced, absolutely no reason whatsoever. Last time I did that, I looked at who had the nicest cars in the thing, and so I could just strike up a conversation with them. Obviously, they're doing something right because they're working or they got a nice car. So that's how that networking piece works, and it's surprising how quickly it expands from there. And there's an old story that I can't remember about putting 1 piece of rice on the first piece of the checkerboard and doubling it, doubling it, doubling. Eventually there's more rice than the entire universe can hold. So you don't have to go that far, but using that kind of method is really going to help you build up your job search. So turn over to page, what page did we just leave?
14.
14, so page 15. I lost my page 15 here. Once you reach somebody like me or someone else there, we're going to talk about informational interviewing. This is a great technique to gather information. They have some differences between networking in general and informational interviewing, and also I want to make the distinction that Ian asked earlier, the difference between informational interviewing and a job interview. You can never, ever, ever ask for a job during an informational interview. It's a betrayal of the setup and my trust that if you then ask me for that. So I just want to put that out there. Networking in general, you're just gathering information, gathering contact names that can help you with your job search. Informational interviewing, you're either screening careers, you're screening organizations, you're screening jobs. So you're narrowing things down and you're erasing some areas you don't want to work in.